This video is an explanation of how to disable the blowback feature from the APS AK74 gel blaster so that you can run an 11-volt battery without damaging the blowback unit. Quite simply, the blowback unit isn't designed to run as fast as 11-volt will run, in that this charging handle speed will not keep up with the piston speed, and as it is piston driven, it will actually more than likely snap off the back of the blowback, which will unfortunately break off in here and drop down inside your gearbox. So to disable it, all we need is one single screwdriver in a Phillips head. Be very cautious with a small one in that it will more than likely damage the screw. So to get started, all we've got to do is drop off our top hatch, push the button in the back here. If it's a model that is a hinge, obviously it will hinge up. If it's a model that is removable, we'll just pop it out and move it to the side. So from here, we can see our whole blowback unit. The actual blowback block is this one here. This block is pulled back by the piston and it pulls the charging handle. Okay, so we need to remove this block here from the system. To do that, what we need to do is we need to remove this charging handle and the locking block that holds our top hat on. To do that, all we have to do is making sure this block is in the forward position. If it's back here somewhere, you will have to connect your battery, fire it a couple of times until your piston is forward, allowing this block to be forward. Once that's forward, we can just use our fingers holding the block at the back here to move this bar forward and out of the locking block. Rotate it to the side and just let it sit there idle. It's not going to go anywhere, it can just stay where it is. This allows us to slide this block forward, up and out. The reason why we have to remove that is this locking block, once disconnected, has to slide straight out the back here. To do that, you've got to remove the black block. Alright, so this is where the Phillips head screwdriver comes in. This single screw here holds the mechanism or the top cap shut. It will be Loctited from the factory, so it definitely pays to use the correct size screwdriver, because as we said, if you use a small one, trying to get through that Loctite, there's a very high chance you will damage the screw. So using a nicely fitting Phillips head screwdriver, we're just going to jump on this screw and back her off. I have already broken the seal with the Loctite on this one. As the screw gets to the point of release or coming away, just use your other finger to hold this top plate on. It is captive at the front here, but there is a little spring under here. And if that spring is under any tension, we don't want it to jump out. So using a finger or a thumb, just make sure this plate is held down while we take this screw all the way out. Don't lose it, because we might as well put this little blowback unit back together once we have removed it, for if ever you want to refit it. So as we said, this plate here is retained by this silver rod. So using our thumbs and fingers, slide it forward up this rod, but then also use our thumb to retain the other claw and spring that is in here. So as you can see, this bar has a claw on the end, of which intersects with another claw internally, which is spring loaded. To remove this block, we need to just lift the silver bar up out of the way so it's not grabbing the claw, and then that allows us to retract the block all the way back out the back, keeping our finger on it so the spring doesn't shoot away. Hopefully it doesn't do it on camera. There we go. So it's all still under my finger. Now also pull this top plate forward, unhook it from on the bar, and then it makes sense to slide it back on using two little pins here to hold it in place, and shove our screw back in so that we don't lose it. If ever you want to reassemble it or refit it to the blaster, that way you can run blowback if you want to go back to 7-volt in the future, or just a slower rate of fire. So we'll just shove the screw back in here so I don't lose the spring. It's a little bit fiddly to just hold everything, get it to align, get the screw to start without losing that little spring underneath. Alright, so that is now secure, can be stored and popped away. That now means our charging handle is no longer connected to our piston. So the blowback is now disabled. All we have to do is take our rear hatch locking block, slide it back on in. Now it does use the top track. There's a lower one, which this block came out of. And there's an upper one, which our locking tab comes out of. Push it all the way to the back, grab our spring-loaded bar. You'll have to just jiggle it to realign it up in the front here because it's probably just popped out in its other locator. Till it goes all the way forward. Flick your tongue to the other side of your mouth so you can get it in. There it goes. As you can see now it goes far enough forward. Let's pop it back into the middle hole. So now we have a spring-loaded charging handle. This one is just going to sit here and do nothing. It's not going to affect anyone. That is blowback disabled on an APS AK74. Pop the top hatch back on, lock her in, test fire. This will no longer reciprocate when you shoot. Thanks guys.